Hi everybody, this is Adam from the Ahistoric Accordion Covers channel, and I am making this video to talk about pitch bending on the accordion. It's kind of by request. It sort of happened that I was thinking of making one of these videos anyway, and then someone particularly asked me about it on the accordion subreddit, and so I've decided to just go ahead and make a video because it's kind of a hard thing to explain verbally. So, here is a little demonstration of what I'm talking about. And it works down here too. So basically what you are doing is you are pushing down the key or the button halfway, which cuts off some of the airflow to the reed that makes the sound. And in doing that, then you're also kind of forcing a little extra air through the bellows. But the combination of those two movements, it sort of forces more air through the reed than it's kind of intended for it to go. And the end result is that the pitch goes kind of whoa and drops a little bit. And it's a cool effect to use. It's not always the most practical thing in the world, but it's a really fun thing to experiment with. Generally speaking, it works better with lower reeds. So, for example, I'm on my bassoon setting right now of this accordion. Okay, and so compare that to the piccolo setting, where it still may work. But as you hear, with the lower setting, the reed drops a lot lower in pitch. There's a wider kind of range for it to drop. But generally speaking, if you're doing a stop with two reeds, it'll affect one of them more than it will the other, and that may not be what you're looking for if you're experimenting with sounds in this way. Do it. For example, here's the oboe stop, which is one of my two middle stops on this accordion. Still works fine. If I use the violin stop, which is the same, there's two middle reeds together, it doesn't work quite as well, although it is still kind of cool. Actually, it's really cool, because then you get this kind of beating electronic sounding tone that is really fun. This is another thing that works really well. I have this stop up here. And as you notice, the volume kind of drops a little bit too when you're using this effect. But compare that to this same note, same pitch, right? With a stop that has coupled reeds, and it's coupled at the octave here. So still a noticeable effect, but not quite as noticeable. One thing that you should know about this effect: it's not bad for your accordion per se, but if you have a hole in your bellows, generally forcing a lot of air will cause that hole to get a little bit bigger. So I would try this really only if your bellows are in decent shape, or if the gasket surrounding the bellows on either side is in really good shape. If you have like prominent cracks in it, it may not be the best thing for your instrument. The other thing is that if your reeds are old and or rusty, and you'll notice that by kind of like a little metallic buzzing sound, that you do run the risk of, with that extra pressure, kind of breaking the reed. So that is just one risk that comes with this kind of experimentation, so you have been warned. I will also demonstrate it just really quickly on my smaller accordion. This one is the Guarini & Sons one that I use, and so this, it's not just a fancy accordion effect. It's something that can be done on most accordions, but if you have like an old Hohner or something where you have no reed stop options, it just may not be the most effective thing in the world. Something with like a triple musette you may just not notice that it's happening. And anyway, if you have that nice coupled sound where it's off tune, you kind of get a similar effect anyway. And especially so if you have the really sharp, like really wet tuned musette sound. But for example, here. Yeah, so it's a fun thing to mess around with, and it works equally well with the left-hand side. Now, you can get it with these coupled sounds sometimes, and again, it will only affect usually one of the sets of reeds, which just causes it to sound as though the instrument is going a little bit out of tune. It's a fun effect, and there's definitely uses for it. But now here you can kind of hear this rattling because some of these reeds are a little bit older on this side. Probably shouldn't be doing it too much down here just because some of these reeds are a little bit cracked. But yeah, that's a little thing about pitch bending. Please let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and I'll try and do a follow-up video to address them. One of the things that I really like most about it is kind of being able to do this really electronic kind of thing. So up here, for example, you can really get this nice effect where you can kind of shift the amount of beating that's happening between the two tones as one of the reeds or the other goes more and more out of tune. And it's really nice to do with two notes where you're only doing it with one of them, because then you kind of have a fallback. So if it stops working, you're not just pulling against, you're not pulling the bellows with no keys pushed down, which is, not a good thing necessarily. So it's a neat thing because we think of the keyboard as being really fixed to equal temperament, and even in the case of accordions where we have lots of funky tunings and then older instruments cause even funkier tunings. But it's one of the ways that the accordion really is distinct from the piano, and it's the use of this air and how that affects the sound of the notes and all that good stuff. I don't know. I'm rambling and it's hot. I mentioned that already. So I'm going to let you guys go, but I hope you enjoy messing around with pitch bending.